Good evening. The Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan, in a rapid turn of events today, has asked the President to dissolve the National Assembly and announce fresh elections after a last-minute dismissal of the no-trust motion by the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly of Pakistan. The matter is being heard now by the Supreme Court of Pakistan shortly. Earlier on, in an address to the nation, Imran Khan has asked people in his country to get ready for elections. The conspiracy to take down this government has collapsed, he added. The assembly has been dissolved. The election will be held in 90 days. The Pakistani opposition is staging a dharna in the assembly till a no-trust vote is in fact held. The opposition, meanwhile, is continuing their protest. As I mentioned, Pakistan People's Party leader Bilawal Bhutto Zardari has said that what has taken place is entirely unconstitutional. Taking to Twitter after the Deputy Speaker of Pakistan's National Assembly, Qasim Suri, rejected the no-confidence motion, Mr. Bilawal Bhutto Zardari said the Imran Khan government was completely illegal in what it has done. Meanwhile, Imran Khan has named the US Assistant Secretary of State for South and Central Asian Affairs, Donald Lu, as being the person allegedly instrumental in pushing through this no-confidence motion against his government by influencing the opposition.
फरमान में इस्लामी जमहूरिया पाकिस्तान के दस्तूर के आर्टिकल 54 की शिक 3 के तहत तजवीज़ करदा इख्तियारात को बरबेकार लाते हुए कौमी असम्बली का जुमा 25 मार्च 2022 को तलब करदा इजलास इसके काम के इख्तिताम पर बाज़रिया हाज़िर बर्खास्त करता हूँ। हज़रत कैसर, स्पीकर कौमी असम्बली।
नेशनल असम्बली के हमारे स्पीकर ने मुस्तरद किया, रिजेक्ट किया एक वो मूव रिजीम चेंज की जो कोशिश की गई थी पाकिस्तान के 22 करोड़ अवाम में, एक बाहर से प्लान किया हुआ नो कॉन्फिडेंस मोशन जिसके पीछे एक फॉरेन एजेंडा था, और जो आज स्पीकर ने उसको जो रिजेक्ट किया है और ये नो कॉन्फिडेंस को जो रिजेक्ट किया, मैं सारी कौम को आज मुबारक देता हूं। ये इस तरह की साजिश इंशाल्लाह ये कौम कामयाब नहीं होने देगी। नेशनल सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल जिसमें सारे सिक्योरिटी चीफ्स बैठे हुए थे, सब बैठे हुए थे, उनके सामने पूरा वो जो कम्युनिके था पाकिस्तान के एम्बेसडर अमेरिका में और उनका जो डोनाल्ड लू जो भी उनका रिप्रेजेंटेटिव था, उसके सारे ये ऑफिशियल मीटिंग थी, वो सारा कॉन्वर्सेशन फिर जब बताया गया हमारी नेशनल सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल में, तो फिर एक उसके बाद मिनट्स जारी किए गए उसके। उन मिनट्स के अंदर ये चीज़ कंफर्म की गई कि ये एक बाहर से प्लान बना था जिसमें इंटरफेयर किया गया था पाकिस्तान की इंटरनल पॉलिटिक्स में, और ये जो नो कॉन्फिडेंस थी इसकी बुनियाद बाहर थी। तो जब एक दफ़ा मुल्क की हाईएस्ट सिक्योरिटी बॉडी ये कंफर्म कर देती है, तो उसके बाद तो ये प्रोसीडिंग्स ये इररेलेवेंट थी कि नंबर्स कितने हैं। प्रेसिडेंट साहब को वो भेज दिया है, एडवाइस भेज दी है कि असेंबलियां डिसॉल्व करें। एक डेमोक्रेटिक सोसाइटी में हम डेमोक्रेट्स अवाम के पास जाएं, अवाम से इलेक्शंस हो, अवाम फैसला करे कि वो किसको चाहती है। कोई बाहर से साजिश और इस तरह के लोग, करप्ट लोग, पैसे की बोरियों से लोगों को खरीद के इस मुल्क की तकदीर का फैसला ना करें। हम प्रेसिडेंट साहब को जब एडवाइस चला जाएगा, असेंबलीज डिसॉल्व हो जाएंगी और फिर आगे जो भी प्रोसीजर है अगले इलेक्शन का, केयर टेकर गवर्नमेंट का, वो अब शुरू हो जाएगा।
आज ये नजर आते हुए आखिरी मौके पे स्पीकर साहब ने गैर आईनी काम किया है, पाकिस्तान का आईन तुड़वाया गया है। यूनाइटेड ऑपोजिशन ने यह फैसला किया है कि हम नेशनल असेंबली में धरना देंगे जब तक हमारा आईनी हक ना दिया जाए, और हम अपना लॉयर से इस वक्त आज ही अभी सुप्रीम कोर्ट पहुंचेंगे कि हमारा पोलिंग, हमारा अदम एतमाद का वोट आज ही किया जाए। अदम एतमाद वज़ीर आज़म साहब के खिलाफ जमा हो चुका है, वो पार्लियामान को डिसॉल्व भी नहीं कर सकता है, अदम एतमाद का मुकाबला करना पड़ेगा।
Meanwhile, there are protests in favor of Imran Khan in Islamabad. Imran Khan will save Pakistan. Whoever is America's friend is a traitor, is what sloganeering is happening outside the Pakistan Parliament after the National Assembly was dissolved this afternoon. In the days leading up to the no trust vote, Mr. Khan has alleged a foreign conspiracy to topple his government. Imran Khan has accused the US of meddling in Pakistan's affairs and has alleged that the opposition was conspiring with Washington to remove him because he would not take the side of the US and Europe on global issues against Russia and China. Well, joining us now, Huma Bakash is a political analyst. We're also joined by Kalbe Ali, a senior reporter with the Daily Dawn in Islamabad. Omar Altaf is a journalist based in Islamabad, also with us. Let me go across to you first, Huma Bakai. Throughout the day there was this big question mark on what exactly this political conspiracy is. But now Imran Khan has taken it one step further by actually naming an American official who he says was responsible for this. On what basis do we know that Imran Khan is making this assertion? How has he backed this up? Just the name.
He's taken this name today, but he has been referring to it indirectly for over 2 weeks now. And yesterday and day before yesterday, he categorically said it's the United States of America that is behind it. He apparently has the minutes of a meeting which he quotes word by word, which actually says things like, if Imran Khan is removed, we will forgive you for whatever you've done in the past, and if you don't, there will be more pain. And this, of course, has triggered a very toxic debate in Pakistan. The issue is not about political rivalry now. It is about Pakistan's foreign policy, its independence. Imran Khan has also said that we have to move forward and we can't continue to be hostage to what the Western powers want us to do. So that's what the political narrative on. And of course, the opposition vehemently denies it. And it now has gone to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court opened its doors on a Sunday to make sure that things happen quickly. And they have also sort of given a very restrained statement, if I may say so. They will say we will look at it from all legal point of view, and there is only this much that we can do in the domain of the parliament. But I personally think, and I've been listening to legal heads and talking to them all day today, most of them think that even if this particular act is quote-unquote illegal and the court says that there's very little that can be done to reverse it. So I think Imran Khan has played his cards right. I think elections is the only way option, and that is the option when you have a very...
In fact, that's an important point that you mentioned, and I wanted to go across to Kalbe Ali about that. The fact of the matter is that the President of Pakistan has dissolved the National Assembly. Elections are now going to take place. That is the bottom line. You know, even if he lost a no-confidence motion, it would have resulted in elections. So willy-nilly, there will be elections. Imran Khan is not in charge. That government is essentially gone. That's the bottom line, right?
So that is quite clear that there is practically no government in Pakistan now. And they are going for the elections. This is election mode. And Imran Khan, whatever he has been saying for the last 2 weeks, was more into the election mode scenario as opposed to the opposition. Opposition had been speaking as if they are set to take control, take charge of the things. And during this, unfortunately, adding to Imran Khan's narrative that some superpower, mainly now it's clear America, has been trying to destabilize Pakistan, and they had been unofficially, people have been calling like what they tried to do in Ukraine and other East European countries. They have been telling that something similar to that is going to happen, is happening in Pakistan. So, but unfortunately or fortunately, whatever you call it, Shahbaz Sharif, several times Shahbaz Sharif made statements which actually supported Imran Khan's narrative. Like, we cannot be, beggars cannot be choosers. His action of going to meeting Putin, President Putin, is going to annoy Americans, annoy the West, and Pakistan's main foreign reserves, the remittances, they are coming in from the US. Such things which actually strengthen Imran Khan's narrative. Right or wrong, these are the separate issue, but let's speak in terms of the statements and politics. So Imran Khan was more into the election mode for a couple of weeks, and Shahbaz Sharif had been more into stabilizing kind of mode, as if he is going to stabilize the government and he is responsible for stabilization.
Okay. Waqas Azim, where does this leave the Pakistan Army in the present situation? All right, we don't have him at this stage. Omar, would you like to take that question?
Yes. Vishnu, could you please repeat your question?
Where does this leave the Pakistan Army in the present situation?
So far, I think the court has also intervened in a way not so as to prevent a abrogation of the constitution. They have given a notice to the Secretary of Defense restraining any institution from an unconstitutional act. So I think Army is also keenly watching the situation, and if the Supreme Court rules election may be the only way forward. It could, if the Supreme Court doesn't reverses what has happened over the last few hours, we are heading towards an election which would be the best solution for this problem. Otherwise, if the Supreme Court reverses it, then there could be consequences for Imran Khan. But if they don't intervene, and then I think this is a great political stroke. It's almost like Imran Khan reverse swinging his opponents, absolutely decimating the opposition attack with this the delivery that he has unleashed on them.
Huma, would you agree that this is in a sense, a step in the evolution of democracy in Pakistan? We've all gone through in various parts of the world crazy elections and crazy reverse swings in the political process. At this juncture, perhaps all of us, and myself included, are overplaying the potential Pakistan Army role or Pakistan Army card. This is a political flip-flop. It could have happened anywhere. It's happened in Pakistan, and it's part of your democratic process. Is that your interpretation as well?
I think it's the maturing of the democratic process in Pakistan. I will be categorical. I think Army will continue to exercise the strategic restraint that it has been talking about and I've been talking about. And the reason for that is that it will only complicate the situation. We need to find political options. We need to find political way forward. So in a worst case scenario, all that I see is that if it has to play a role, it will be a facilitator to make sure that this time the elections do happen in 90 days. And I think that's what we should be doing. But essentially what is bothering legal minds here and people who look at things from the tactical perspective is that how will we go forward? Because there are various subsequent issues that need to be addressed. There are issues of census that had to be held. There are issues of reversing the electoral reforms that Imran Khan had introduced, which the opposition was completely against, and that is why they wanted to do that in this 1 year before they go into elections. So I think Pakistan is going through a difficult phase right now. There is a lot of political wrangling there. The way forward right now is not very clear. But at the end of the day, we are all hoping that democracy will thrive and survive and we'll find democratic solutions.
Would you agree, Kalbe Ali, that this was a political masterstroke by Imran Khan when he realized that he just didn't have the numbers? He didn't concede a no-confidence vote either.
I agree with almost everything that Huma said, and the one thing that I want to add is that this really is a sign of maturity in political and among the politicians. Secondly, I would also like to add one more thing, that Article 69 of the Constitution has been amended to strengthen the political structure, the power of the parliament, and the power of the political parties. Right. And it has been done mainly by the PMLN and the People's Party. But now, unfortunately, it's very strange that for the last few months, the PMLN that had been main bulwark of, their rhetoric was against the army, and the People's Party had always been against the army. They all gathered together at one platform just to make this no confidence move successful. And it is being said, very clearly being said, that they came together to save Qamar Bajwa, the army chief. Yeah. Which is also bringing a bad name to these political parties, as opposed to now giving a good name apart from the American system, because American rhetoric. Because many people in India might not know that despite being so close to America for decades and decades, but the anti-Americanism is very, very deep-rooted in Pakistan.
Sure.
And anybody and all the leaders who have suffered in any case eventually end up in blaming America for all the problems that they face.
Sure.
So this is what now Khan has played in a very beautiful manner, which has attracted a lot of attention and a lot of sympathies also.
Sure.
Same way.
In fact, Omar wanted to come in. I'm sorry to interrupt, running short on time as usual. Omar, quickly, go ahead.
Vishnu, this could be the first general election in Pakistan where foreign policy could trump all other issues.
Yes.
This election, yes, economy could take a back seat and all other issues may not be as important as foreign policy. Imran Khan is obviously going to center his campaign around that, and everyone has to prove that they are patriots if they want to get votes. So it's going to be a very interesting campaign.
Spun around the theme of patriotism. Right, spun around the theme of patriotism. Yeah, interesting.
It could be, yeah. It could be the first election, yeah. I don't seem to recall any other election which was just like fought on this theme of foreign policy and sovereignty.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank you all very much for joining us. Absolutely fascinating political developments in Pakistan.